Gordon Stewart Northcott was born in Bladworth, Saskatchewan, Canada, and raised in British Columbia. He moved to Los Angeles, California with his parents in 1924. 2 years later, at the age of 19, Northcott asked his father to purchase a plot of land in the community of Wineville, located in Riverside County, where he built a chicken ranch and a house with the help of his father and his nephew, 11-year-old Sanford Clark. It was under this pretext that Northcott brought Clark from Bradford to the U.S. Upon the boys' arrival at the Wineville Ranch, Northcott began to physically and essay Clark. In August 1928, out of concern for his welfare, Clark's 19-year-old sister Jessie visited him at the Wineville Ranch. At that time, Clark told her that he feared for his life. One night while Northcott was asleep, Jessie learned from Clark that Northcott had murdered 4 boys at his ranch. Once she returned to Canada a week later, Jessie informed an American consul there of Northcott's crimes. The consul then wrote a letter to the Los Angeles Police Department detailing Jessie's sworn complaint. Because there was essentially some concern over an immigration issue, the LAPD contacted the United States Immigration Service to determine facts relating to the complaint. On August 31st, 1928, Immigration Service inspectors Judson F. Shaw and George W. Scollin visited the ranch. Northcott, having seen the agents driving up to the long road to his ranch, fled into the tree line at the edge of his property, telling Clark to stall them and threatening to shoot him from the tree line with a rifle if he didn't comply. For the next 2 hours, while Clark stalled, Northcott kept running. Finally, when Clark felt that the agents could protect him, he told them that Northcott had fled. Northcott and his mother, Sarah Lois, fled to Canada but were arrested near Vermont, British Columbia on September 19, 1928. Clark testified at Sarah Lois's sentencing that Northcott had kidnapped, essay beaten, and killed 3 young boys with the help of his mother and Clark himself. Clark also testified about the murder of a 4th young man, a Mexican citizen, whose decapitated head Northcott had forced Clark to dispose of by burning it in a fire pit and then crushing the skull. Northcott stated that he left the headless body by the side of the road near L.A. because he had no other place to put it. He stated that quicklime was used to dispose of the remains and that the bodies were buried on their ranch. Authorities found 3 shallow graves at the ranch, exactly where Clark had stated they were. These graves did not contain complete bodies, but only parts. Clark and his sister Jessie testified that Northcott and his mother had exhumed the bodies on the evening of August 4th, 1928, a few weeks before Clark was taken into protective custody. They had taken the bodies to a deserted area where they were most likely burned. In the night, the complete bodies were never recovered. The evidence found in the graves consisted of 51 parts of human anatomy. Those silent bits of evidence of human bones and blood have spoken and corresponded the testimony of living witnesses. This evidence enabled the authorities to conclude that Walter Collins' 2 brothers named Lewis and Nelson Winslow, aged 12 and 10, and the unidentified 4th victim had all been murdered. The body parts of Clark's testimony resulted in a death sentence for Gordon Northcott and life imprisonment for Sarah Lois Northcott, who was paroled in 1940. She died in 1944. It was speculated that Gordon may have killed as many as 20 boys, but the state of California could not produce evidence to support that speculation. Ultimately, the state only brought an indictment against Gordon for the murders of an unidentified underage Mexican and the brothers Louis and Nelson Winslow, aged 12 and 10. The brothers had been reported missing from Pomona on May 16, 1928. In early 1929, Gordon Northcott's trial was held before Judge George R. Freeman in Riverside County, California. The jury heard that he kidnapped, tortured, and murdered the Winslow brothers and the Mexican in 1928. On February 8, 1929, the 27-day trial ended with Gordon being convicted of those murders. On February 13, 1929, Freeman sentenced him to death, and he was hanged on October 2, 1930, at San Quentin State Prison. He was 23 years old.